Time-sharing by Eugene V. Immediato, Jr., plaintiff appearing pro se. Pro se is a Latin term that means for oneself, or in this case, meaning representing oneself. In no way do I recommend taking on any legal matter without the benefit of an attorney. I've been doing this long enough that, for me, an attorney isn't a completely necessary expense. Another main reason for this is that nobody can ever have my best interests in mind like I have my best interests in mind when it comes to my children. In any civilized nation in the world, our most precious of resources are our children. We as parents and future parents have a duty to protect and to look out for the best interests of our children at any cost. At any cost. In American society, it is becoming more and more commonplace for children to reside with either one parent or the other due to breakup or divorce. Herein lies the problem in determining the best possible place for the child to reside. I am a parent, the proud parent of 3 children, Courtney, Alexa, and Dominic, ages 10, 9, and 7 years old. For the better part of the last 6 years, I've been embroiled in a bitter custody battle, fighting for what I think are the best interests of my children. Should the occasion arise that you find yourself in this unfortunate situation, you're going to want to be prepared. More prepared than you've ever been for anything else in your entire life, ever. I'll walk you briefly through an emotional process in which emotion has no bearing on the procedure or the outcome. I'll go over how to prepare for the task, where to obtain and how to file out the proper forms, the considerations you must take about yourself, what happens once you've filled out and filed the forms, and I'll go briefly over the mediation process. Every success starts with a decision to try. First thing you should do is educate yourself on your rights as a parent. With the exception of a few extreme instances, every parent has a right to see their children. Even if you're a murderer, a drug dealer, and even a child molester, you have the right to see your children. Although it'll probably be supervised, the rights are still yours. You can find out what your other rights are by visiting the Lee County Court website. You can also consult with a family law attorney. Most of them will give you free legal advice if you should have any questions, both before the process, during, and after. You can also read the Florida Family Law Rulebook. If you're able to decipher the language of law, it's a very useful tool. Next, gather proof and accredited documentation that supports your case. By accredited documentation, I'm talking about letters from teachers, daycare providers, doctors, hospital records, police reports, and in some cases, the wishes of the children are also taken into consideration. Lastly, the hardest thing about preparation is preparing mentally for the challenges that you're about to face. Under any circumstances, you should remain and maintain a positive outlook and attitude throughout the entire process, despite any setbacks you'll have, and you will have them. This procedure can take a long time, and at times may seem to be going nowhere. It's frustrating, it's maddening, but do not let your emotions get the better of you. As I stated before, emotion has no place in these proceedings. Letting your emotions get the better of you only hurts you and hinders your progress. Now, once you feel confident enough to proceed, you need to get the forms necessary to start the process. Florida is unique that it has these forms already drawn up with instructions available for you to either download from the Lee County Court website, or you can obtain them from Family Court Services located in the Lee County Courthouse. Family Court Services will be your best friend throughout this entire process. They'll guide you through the paperwork and the process itself. Although they're not attorneys, they can't give you legal advice. They'll do their best to steer you in the right direction to reach your goal. When filling out these documents, be as specific and as detailed as you can. Write down facts chronologically from now and work backwards. If a detail seems insignificant, include it anyway. There's no way to know what the court will take into consideration when it's going over your case. Next, be prepared to take a good hard look at yourself. Evaluate your actions and take inventory of the life you're leading. And ask yourself, is it a kid-friendly existence that the court will feel comfortable placing my children in? Everything about you is taken into consideration. Everything. Your past, your present, your attitude, demeanor, your character, your language, and believe it or not, the way you dress. You've all watched an episode of Judge Judy where she says, "Did you forget that you were coming to court today?" Now, every one of you in this room laughed or chuckled about that, but it's not a joke. It is important that you dress appropriately when you're appearing before the court. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and wear a suit or buy one. I opt to, but you're going to want to dress right. This shows the court that you're respectfully ready to proceed. that you realize the seriousness of the occasion and that it is important to you. If you show up looking like you're ready for go out for Saturday night, this shows the court that you have no respect for the matter, it isn't very important to you, and that you do not take it or the court seriously. Next, the language you use is also important and taken into consideration. Now, I don't mean profanity. I mean, avoid saying anything disparaging and bad-mouthing the other parent. That's not the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. Your only focus should be on the children and their best interests, not your opinion of the other parent. Use facts, not opinions. I use a term that even a lot of attorneys said that was a good strategy and not many of them think to incorporate into their language. I eliminate using the term my kids or my children. I do this because they're not my children. They're our children. And the term sounds controlling, possessive by the court. I replace the term with our children because that's what they are. They're our children. They have two parents unless one's passed away. Now, once you fill out all the necessary paperwork, make copies. I personally make 3. One set I file with the courts, 1 copy has to be served on the other parent or the other party, and 1 I keep for my own records. These forms that are being submitted have to be notarized. The clerk of course will notarize them when you're ready to file. The fee is, I think it's $3.50 per set. My suggestion is to get all 3 copies notarized. This gives, spend a few extra bucks so you have an original notarized copy for your own records. Once you file, the other party has to be served with the papers you filed. This is done through either the sheriff's department or a process server. This proves difficult a lot of the times, difficult to find the other party, especially if they don't have a stable or current address. But once they're served, a return of personal service will be mailed to you, in which you must file with the court. This shows that the other party has been notified of the intended proceedings. They have 20 days to respond. All right, in other states, it's a different time period. Now, once this document is filed with the court, you wait. You wait for a date for mediation. What's mediation? Mediation is your opportunity to shine. This is where you get to present your case to an arbitrator, which is usually a magistrate judge, and try to come to some agreement with the other parent that both of you are comfortable with. This is an alternative to a trial. A trial is not the most desirable route to go because the final details are left up to the court. Judge Joe Brown, a sitting judge that has been practicing law for over 40 years, I mean, he's not just a TV judge, said, and I quote, "Once a verdict is handed down, it is very difficult, if not impossible on appeal, to get the court system to admit they made a mistake." In layman's terms, once that gavel comes down, that's it. Therefore, you're almost stuck with the decision. This is why preparation is imperative. In mediation, be specific and as detailed as you can about your wishes for the children. If this is an unattainable goal, it goes to trial. The proceedings are very scary and a stressful experience, and I can't stress enough the importance of having this order in place, mainly to give your children stability, consistency, and a safe environment. Our children deserve the very best possible future that we can offer them. And regardless of the relationship between you and the other parent, this order is necessary because things change. The order doesn't. We live in a world now where mommy isn't always the best person or role model for our children. More and more fathers are fighting and succeeding in gaining the better part of the time-sharing. Just because we're fathers doesn't mean that we don't love our children just as much, and in some cases, more. Thank you.